Hey y'all, CB here, and I'm the No BS welder here at NBS Welding. We're going to be welding some aluminum today, and let's take a look at what we got. Couple of brackets here from aluminum tubing. They sent me this one to show me what it was supposed to look like. There's also this one, which obviously has got a little issue, and this has been welded before, and I'm just going to say it wasn't welded very good. There's a couple questions I got for the boss man. I done been on the horn with him, and he's checking with the guy that actually uses these parts to make sure what all we're going to need. But in the meantime, we definitely need to fix the poor welding and get this tube welded onto the other tube and to get a couple of these small gussets made. Now, I'm going to be welding this with pulse MIG aluminum, and the rig that I do that with is the Arc Captain MIG 205 MP. That's the multi-process machine from Arc Captain, and the key reason that I use this machine to MIG weld aluminum is because of its pulse function. So I'm going to be running MIG pulse aluminum on this. Now, the key factor about pulse aluminum is when you're MIG welding aluminum, you need a lot of heat and that force of your arc to blast through the oxide layer of your aluminum. So generally when we MIG weld aluminum, you run a lot of heat. But the problem with that is the melting temperature of aluminum is quite low. So when you're MIG welding aluminum and you crank your machine up to a pretty high voltage and you blast through that oxide layer and start welding your aluminum, that aluminum is just getting too hot. And that's the reason traditionally when I've MIG welded aluminum, I got to run a lot of heat and I got to weld crazy fast. And you'll weld a little ways and realize that your material's just getting too hot. Now, the pulse function goes from high voltage to low voltage and back and forth. And this happens like a million times a second, faster than we can even imagine. But what it does is on the high voltage side, you've got the high voltage that you need to blast through the oxide layer. On the low voltage side, it's giving the material a little bit of a break so that it doesn't over absorb the heat from your welding and it doesn't get too hot. So MIG welding on pulse is my favorite way to MIG weld aluminum. The other thing that's key about the MIG 205 MP and the way that I've got this particular machine set up is I run a fairly large diameter aluminum wire. I run a 3/64 inch, which is about 0.45. And I run a 53/56, which is a fairly stiff alloy. As far as the drive roll, I run an 0.45 U-shaped drive roll, which allows me to push this aluminum wire through the standard gun. Well, the standard gun is very light and handy and easy to maneuver. Now, because aluminum is so soft, a lot of times a spool gun like this will be used, and you have to hold this huge gun, and it works good because your aluminum is, your spool is right here on the gun and you don't have to push it very far. But because of the combination of the 53/56 stiff alloy, and because of the large diameter of the 3/64 inch wire, you're able to actually push it through the standard gun and you don't have to manhandle that great big gun. Also, it's an advantage sometimes in places because I've had to weld aluminum in places where you just couldn't get a spool gun in there. So we're going to be pulse MIG with pure argon and the MIG 205 MP, and we're going to get all this nasty stuff sanded off here and cleaned up and get a couple passes on this while the boss man's getting back to me on answering a couple other things, and I'll show you the questions I had about that. I noticed on here there's some aluminum tabs, and the way they're bent over and cracked, I can't tell if these were originally straight out 90 degrees from this face of the tube or if they're supposed to be on that angle, because they kind of look like maybe they've been bent in. That makes me think that I had to ask him that question, and it's kind of important that I know the right way to do it, especially because one of them's gone. I'm going to have to make new ones. And if I'm going to make new parts and put something together and fix on it, I want to make sure I get it right. So during the time when I'm getting this welding fixed that's obviously got to be done, he's going to get back to me and we'll know what we need to know on that. So let's get going. Treating the sanding pad with the beeswax to prevent the galling. I use a 4.5 inch backer with a 5 inch sanding pad, 80 grit. Works the best on aluminum. Hitting it with beeswax again to prevent galling. After the sanding's done, I power brush with the Arc Captain cordless. If I didn't have so many plug-in grinders, the Arc Captain cordless is the only thing I would use. There's a link in the description of my videos to take you to their website to get one of those, and you can use my promo code on it. Found some cracks that I gouged out a little bit with the burr bit, and getting the crack repair welded up. Got some information on the situation. The fella, nice guy, just met the fella that actually uses these parts, and the information from the guy that brought them to me that works for the same company was a little bit off. So I'll tell you what's going on. This one that was the model that didn't have anything wrong with it, the guy that originally brought me this said that this one needed to be like this one. And he brought me this as a model to show me how this one was supposed to be. So I made this one like this one. And that's actually wrong. So what is wrong is the way that this thing is turned. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. This opening on this one is not supposed to be where, see, there's a gusset here and here's the opening, the gusset here and here's the opening. On this one, that opening is supposed to be here. See, I made an arrow where it goes. So we're going to have to cut that off and turn it 90 degrees. Ain't no big deal. We'll get her taken care of. We're going to whip out the death wheel and we'll take this off. We'll turn it. We'll weld it back on there. And the main thing is, now that we've talked to the guy that actually uses these parts, we know we're going to get it right, which that's the most important thing. However much work it is to do it, we'll get it done. And then we'll be making these two little gussets. We are going to have these on there. So there'll be one here and one here. And what I found out about these tabs, they don't even need them. So I'm just going to cut those off. When I got the death wheel out, I'll just get rid of those. And we know what to do now, so let's get to it.